No.
Okay. Welcome back to the From the Fabricator podcast. I'm your host, Max Pearlstein. Thanks for dropping by. Really appreciate it. And to my new friends that I made at the Glass Symposium up in Atlantic City, welcome. I hope you will enjoy this episode. What a great time at the Glass Symposium. Really off the charts. It's been a great month. Texas Glass Conference, incredible. Glass Symposium, incredible. Just so many great people in this industry. Can't get enough. So I thank all of those folks and welcome in. Before we get to the podcast with our guests, I have to throw something out here about our friends at FHC. Vote for FHC. A vote for FHC is a vote for innovation, pure and simple. Voting is now open for the Glass Magazine Awards presented by the National Glass Association, and FHC has been nominated in 4 categories, including the new FHC Hydraulic Series Shower Hinge in the Best Innovation for Installers category, and the FHC Aspire HD Heavy Thermal Entrance for Best Hardware Product or System. FHC is committed to delivering the products and services glass and glazing professionals need to be faster, stronger, and more profitable. These multiple nominations are proof. Glazers, FHC has your back. Vote now at glassmagazine.com and check out FHC at fhc-usa.com. All right, let's get to the podcast. I start off with Jason Epps, who is the president and CEO of Specialty Fenestration Group, which is combining USBP and Quikserv. Fantastic, really fun, neat conversation. It was a thrill, just a super guy. And then I follow it with Derman from NovaTech. Getting to know him was a really cool thing. He's in a different sort of business than I'm used to, so I learned a lot. And again, a good conversation there too. Honored and thrilled that these guys gave me the time, and I think you'll enjoy it. And check them out, and I'll see you on the other side with some TV choices, and we'll go from there. Let's start it off with Jason Epps. Okay. Kicking it off this month, I am thrilled to have Jason Epps, President and CEO of Specialty Fenestration Group. That includes the gang from Quikserv and USBP. You can find them online at Specialty Fenestration Group, all one word, specialtyfenestrationgroup.com. Also at quikserv.com, that's QUIKSERV.com, and USBP.com. Jason, I am really pumped to get to know you. You've been making some news, and this is going to be a fun little bit to chat with you. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Absolutely, Max. Thanks for having me on. We're honored to be on. I'm especially honored to be talking with you and share a little bit about what we've done here at SFG and how we're headed forward.
Can't wait to dig into all that, because there are, like I said, there's a lot going on. But before we get into that, really the favorite part of me for these podcasts is getting to know people a little bit better. So love to know your origin story, where you were born, grew up, went to school, kind of like your journey to today.
Sure, absolutely. So I like to think I'm a native Texan, but I was born in Connecticut, and I only lived there about 6 months. And then I lived in Texas the rest of my life, north of Houston.
Gotcha.
I went to school at Texas A&M University in College Station, which is a fantastic university. I went up there just thinking, hey, I'm going to get a business degree, and I ended up getting an accounting degree. Did some public accounting for a couple of years right out of school, enough to get my license, and then enough to realize I did not want to do public accounting.
Right.
So we had a family business. My dad started a family business in '86, and I graduated from Texas A&M in 1992. And about 94, I said, you know what, we're moving into a brand new building in March of 94. I said, you know what, I'm going to hang up the accounting cleats and I'm going to move over to the family business. And so,
Nice.
so that's kind of how I got started here. And we were a small family business at the time. There was only about 20, 25 employees, but it was all family related. We had my granddad, my grandmother, my cousin, my dad, my brother, everybody was here and pulling on the same rope, but family businesses are tough, and they present their challenges.
For sure. I grew up in a family business. I know exactly what you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah. It's hard to, you vacation together, you work together. You can't ever turn off that work knob,
Yep.
So, but anyway, it was good. And through the 90s, it was really good. When I started in 94, and then my dad wanted to retire in early 2000s. And so we struck up a deal, and I bought the business from him in 2006, completely bought it out. My wife and I, I've got an amazing wife who supported me throughout a lot of trying times and a lot of difficult times and making that decision. And I had kids that when my oldest son, he wanted to get into the ministry, so he really didn't want to get into the family business. I've got 2 daughters that really didn't want to do manufacturing. And so
Right.
I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the business and see what I can do with it. And so I grew the business. And then at 18, I decided to go private equity. And here we are
Gotcha.
today after another turn of private equity. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we'll get into that. I have to back up. How many times do you stun people when you tell them you were born in Connecticut? Because
a lot.
I could have probably named 47 other states before I got to Connecticut.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I've only been up there once to see where I was born and see the beautiful colors in the fall. But yeah, I'm a Texan, pretty
Absolutely.
much. So
Absolutely. And I feel for you on the family business thing. I've told the story a couple times, but growing up, my dad, my sister, and my brother were heavy in the business. It was family
mhm.
business. And so I was younger than them. And so my mom wasn't in the business. So usually we'd have these family dinners and it would turn into like a battle royale,
Exactly.
my
Yep.
brother, my sister, my dad all going at it. And then my mother would always then jump in and say, "So how's the weather?" Just to
Right.
change the subject
Exactly. And it's
because
hard to do.
it is.
Yeah.
You're right. You do everything with them, and it is hard to turn off. So
It's strainful on relationships, and I have a different outlook now when I hear family business because ours unfortunately did end in a strange relationship. My dad's older now; he's 86, but he's proud of what we're doing, but he's suffering from some Alzheimer's right now. But when you look at family businesses that succeed and can make it work,
yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
it
So
is. It
um,
is. It is. And then for you to carry it on the way you have, and
absolutely.
which is amazing. And so let's talk about Specialty Fenestration Group. I gave the kind of the tease with Quikserv and USBP, but you want to run down what this group is and how it's all come together.
Sure, yeah. So, Quikser was the household name in pass-through windows. And that's
Hmm.
and that's kind of we were the drive-through guy from the 90s and the early 2000s. And we started really getting into co-branding. We started getting into transaction drawers and lighter security, level 1 through level 3. But I had a vision that we could become more than this pass-through window company. Let's be more than that. We've got the best sales force out in the world, and that's the Glazers out there, right? They
Right.
are, we work hand in hand with them. 95% of our checks come from Glazers, right? And so I wanted to introduce higher level security without reinventing the wheel. And so, we were doing really well in the QSR industries and transaction type windows, but how do we capture more of that spec? How do we capture more of the security spec? And so when I went private equity, that was one of their main questions is what do you foresee this
Hmm.
company being? And we ended up developing the name Specialty Fenestration. Max, I even had to look up what fenestration meant at the time because that sounded like a really big word, but for somebody like me, I'm like, okay, doors and windows of a building envelope. I can
Yep.
handle that.
Yep.
But yeah, and so we want to specialize in specialty niche products, and that's what Quikserv was.
Hmm.
We acquired US Bulletproofing, and they are a specialty niche aluminum manufacturer of high security doors and windows.
Right.
And that's kind of how we got to where we are today. So we jumped from all the way level 1 and level 3. Now we're up to, level 8, level 10 bomb blast and security, forced entry ballistic rated materials.
Awesome. Awesome. And
So
so,
it's a big leap.
yeah.
I know some people think, hey, how did Quickserve get into that business? But it was more of a business because we saw more of an opportunity to develop our domestic security, not necessarily get into some of the embassy products around the world.
No, understood, understood. And so I'm with Jason Epps, President and CEO of Specialty Fenestration Group, and everything he was just talking about, you can check out at specialtyfenestrationgroup.com. Yeah, you're not the only one who has trouble with the
Yeah.
word fenestration. Specialtyfenestrationgroup.com to see more. So on QuickServe, I mean, it's funny. Before I got to know anybody from your organization, I mean, I'd seen the drawers, I had seen the drive-through,
Right.
and then when you see it and it's like you guys, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like really cool. It's like meeting Elvis. I mean, it's like I've seen it all over the place. So it was really cool. And QuickServe just celebrated 40 years,
40 years.
40th anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any particular moment out there that makes you proud or otherwise, just the whole entire breadth of work makes you proud?
Yeah, thanks, Max. I think, definitely the highlights are when you win a big. I mean, I know in 2005 we won the Chick-fil-A, right? I mean, there's some times I look back and I say, wow, these QSRs are fantastic. But you know what honestly makes me the most proud is that especially when I bought the business in 2006, we all know what happened in 2008 with the global financial crisis, right? And
Mhm.
then in 2019, it seems like every time Quick is challenged, whether that be with a supplier, a customer, or just a macroeconomic event, we come through with flying colors. And that's what I'm most proud about is how do we handle adversity? How does our employees rally around each other and take that next step up and keep going. And so I think that's what I'm most proud of, is that we've handled adversity well throughout the years.
It's a great one, and you should. I mean, that's the hallmark of a good company is when you can roll through the challenges. And obviously, you were there for Y2K, you were there for the
Yep.
recession, you were there for COVID, and
Right.
those are big moments that we've all had to roll through, and you have done it and done it with grace and style too. So that's
Well, thank
gives
you,
you
Matt.
something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it was interesting because, when we did the COVID part, I mean, it was nice because I had a partner, right, with private equity at the time.
right.
But I tell you what, that's one thing that helped me kind of decide to, recapitalize things, is that when you're a small business owner at the time, facing some of those by yourselves, it can get, hectic and
Yes.
nervous. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, we've done well. We've got a fantastic team.
No
So,
doubt, no doubt. We're going to talk about the culture and the team in a little bit, but before we move on from Quikserv, just
yeah.
more of a curiosity question for you because I know I grew up as a glass fabricator, and
Hmm.
I loved when we would go to places. My brother and I, like when Pittsburgh's original airport opened, and we had glass in there. We went to the airport. We're on our hands and knees looking at logos and looking at spacers. For you, what's the feel like when you go through a drive-through? You're going through Chick-fil-A or Chipotle, and you see your
Yep.
stuff. I
Yep.
mean, that's got to be pretty darn cool. And I mean, are you checking it out? You making sure it's holding up? I mean, what's your reaction there?
I do. There's so many times I want to reach through the window with a business card and say, "Hey, you need to replace this window. It's really, really old." I went through this weekend. I was driving across Texas and I went through a Dairy Queen, and I think this window had to have been put in the late '90s. And I'm like,
Wow.
"Good, it's still operating. The store looks remodeled, but they kept the window in there, And I'm like, "You guys need to change that out." But no, it's very exciting because I see some tidbits from my dad when he owned the business,
Hmm.
some of the special qualities we had in the window, like a stainless steel base back then. When I drive around town, I see a stainless base. I'm like, that window is so old. That was my dad built that,
Right.
right? We
Right.
went to aluminum base when I took over, but yeah, it's really exciting, especially the kids. I mean, and people. I think people think that just windows just pop out of the blue. I mean, they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, somebody builds a drive-through window." It's a niche product that nobody thinks about. And it's exciting because everybody goes to a drive-through and everybody says, "Now I've seen where your product is. I know what you're talking about." They see the emblem.
That's awesome. Yeah, the logo sticks out, the emblem sticks out, so that's a good thing. I
That's
love it.
exciting.
I love it. I don't blame you. I'm doing it now ever since I've gotten to know you guys, and I see it. I get excited when I see it, and then I get upset when I see it's not yours. I'm like,
Right. It's funny you said, and it's
yeah,
all around the world, Max. I
yeah,
mean, because I was in Alaska. God, this was in 2008, and I was on a hunt with a bunch of friends, and we were in the smallest podunk town that a little broken down burger chain was there, and
yeah.
our window was there, and I was like, we're everywhere.
Love it.
You know,
Love it. That's
good stuff.
fantastic. Very, very cool.
Yep.
This is great. Halfway through the pod, I usually break it up with a fun question, and this one, it's the first time I've ever asked this question.
So,
Actually, in doing the podcast since 2021, it's the first time I've ever asked it, and so we'll see how it goes with you. If you could send a message to your 18-year-old self with advice for going forward, and especially, you're in a family, there's a family business going on, what would that message be? I'm very curious what you would have told yourself, what you know now then.
yeah, I think I would, what I know now, I
Yeah.
would have told myself to dig into those areas that aren't so sexy in business, right?
Yeah.
Especially like engineering. Engineering and maybe dig in to understand the sales channels a little bit more. I mean, certain areas, I was an accountant, I
Yeah.
was a CPA afterwards. And so some of those, I was the kind of kid when I was in high school that if you gave me a flat box drawing on the SAT and said, what is this going to resemble when it's folded together? I
Yeah.
struggled, right? But I should have dove in and be like, okay, those are some areas that I'm going to need, when it
Mhm.
comes to engineering and some of these sales tactics. I mean, but I instead back then you kind of run from them because they don't interest you. But
Right.
if you're going to run the business, you got to kind of know it all,
Yeah.
right? And so I think I would have gone back and said those areas that scare you or that you don't seem that interested that are important in business, that grab a hold of and get a better grip on.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And you're a math guy. See, I wasn't a
Yep.
math guy, so that my whole thing would be bone up on the math,
Exactly.
sort of thing. But very cool. That makes a lot of sense. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So I've got Jason Epps with me, President and CEO of Specialty Fenestration Group. That's Quikserv and USBP, and you can find them online, specialtyfenestratingroup.com. Also at quikserv.com. That's Quikserv.com and USBP.com. So FSG was just acquired recently. You had another event with Victor Capital. How was that process? How's it going so far? And looking at 2026, how's it going? With the company overall?
Yeah, fantastic. We're really excited to partner with Victor Capital. We were sold by River Associates, our first institutional type capital, and it was a great starter private equity firm for us. They were amazing. They really grew us. I mean, 3 to 4 times what we were, right? And so Victor Capital came in. I'm extremely impressed with their diligence. Extremely impressed with all the third party, I guess, growth. Help that they're bringing on. We've got a really good plan going forward for the next 5 years. I know a lot of our customers think, well, you get acquired by another private equity. Are you going to change course? Are you going to get out of this or get into this? And you know what? We're staying status quo. If anything, we're pouring gasoline on what
Yeah,
we've already started because we've
gotcha.
grown so much and the market is so big. And so, yeah, so we're super excited about it. 26 from a domestic security standpoint is super strong. I mean, bookings are off the charts. From the QSR side of things, it's a little slower. I don't know if that's so much of it's economy related or not,
Right.
but from what we're hearing from the larger chains, they're still have their targets and their forecasts they're going to hit. It's just taking a little bit of time to kick off. But overall, we're tracking the budget for 26, so we're super excited about it. But there's a lot of growth ahead, and we've got a lot of irons in the fire that's going to help us organically and through acquisition.
For sure, for sure, and it's funny because you talk about your customers really don't have to worry because of the way that they've gotten to know you, and for me, your culture is what really kind of impressed me. I mean, everybody I've gotten to meet from your organization, whether it is Hector, Vallejo, or it's
Mhm.
Wade, or it's Brian, whoever I get to meet,
Mhm.
they're amazing, and the culture is fantastic. How did you, how did you foster that and grow
Yeah.
that? Because I mean, that's not easy. That's tough, especially when you go through different events like you probably did with River. And, how do
Yeah.
you keep that culture going?
Well, thanks, Max. I kind of credit to our faith. I mean, we're a faith-based organization, Christian organization. We started as a family business. Our goal the entire time has been to keep that family culture feel right. And it's hard as you grow, as you know. And as we, but that's just how we do things. We actually hit a home run with some of the executive hires and the same culture mentality. When we've got people that walk through the door, I want them to know what a good day looks like. They come here for a reason. They come here to make a living, right? Earn
Yep.
stuff for their family, but at the same time, they come with struggles. They come with highs and lows throughout their life, and we're going to walk through it to celebrate with them. We're going to treat them not you're not just an employee. You're part of the family. And I'm not going to say it hadn't been challenging because when I sold originally private equity, we had about 58 people. We're now close to 200 people. So it's tough. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you do the right thing and if you treat people the way you want to be treated with respect and dignity and help them to see what a good day looks like, it kind of fosters itself. It festers and it's just how we do things. We've got great core values and that's wonderful, but absolute kindness and just being a family is what's doing it. My goal and ever since as far as I'm going to be here, as long as I'm going to be here, is to continue to foster that culture and drive that. Yeah, we can be it now because we're now a middle market. We're not a small company anymore,
Right.
but we still have that same small family feel. So
Yeah. I mean, your people represent very well, and you could tell it's a family sort of
yeah,
play.
yeah.
So what you're doing is working. I can tell you that.
Well, thank you, Max. And it's interesting because when you're a small family business without maybe some professional help from some of the executive team, it's hard to set goals and targets and align people. But when you've professionalized the business like we have, everybody's aligned. So not only are you feeling like family, but we're all rowing in the same direction. We all benefit when we hit those targets, and it just kind of breeds itself. And
Yeah.
we're thankful. And again, I go back to my faith. I'm very thankful. We know where our blessings come from, and we're going to continue to uphold that.
Yeah,
So
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And I guess, having that strong faith and having that strong culture, as you've grown, you've had to integrate new companies, you've bought companies,
mhm.
and had to fold them in. Like when you bought USBP. I mean, and that was like a jump, for you. How was that process? How, you've got more probably to come, but how is the process of trying to take a company that's not in your current world and bring them
Yeah.
into to your underneath your tent and the way you do
Yeah.
things?
It's challenging. I mean, you look at USBP, they're a Maryland-based company, we're a Texas-based company. You've got different philosophies of life going in each area, but we went in there and we purchased a company. And one of the biggest things is to let them know, hey, we're not here. We're not the big bad ugly wolf coming in. We're here to professionalize things. We're here to help you. We're here, and when we bought USBP, they were similar to how Quikserv was years ago. Small family feel. They highly technical business, but very relaxed atmosphere, very not so much customer driven, right? I mean, they really focus on just doing the right thing. But it's hard to go in there and say, hey, here's where we're headed, share the vision, get them to buy into the vision, get them to buy into your culture and see that these guys aren't so bad after all. They kind of know what they're talking about, but you don't go in there to just, a bull in a china shop and change things. You
Yeah.
go in there to take one small win at a time, get everybody on board. And then as the results start to show and as the benefits start pouring out, again, it just kind of breathes itself and they're like, this isn't so bad. So it was a challenge, but it's very successful.
Good, good. Yeah, and it is a challenge. I give you credit because it's not easy, and especially when you talk about you're in Texas, they're in Maryland.
You're right.
That alone, just the distance makes it tough.
It is. And we're excited though I think we've replicated not only our sales channels and the way we grow business, but the way we integrate companies.
Right.
Our team is very successful and we're super excited because acquisitions on our horizon too. And we're gonna continue that model and build this company even larger.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. I got Jason
Thank
Epps with me, President, CEO, Specialty Fenestration Group. Look him up on online, specialtyfenestrationgroup.com. Also at quikserv.com. That's Quikserv.com and USBP.com. A couple more questions for you. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time today. You've got 30 plus years in the business, and you look at our industry. Is there something we're not doing that we need to do? I mean, like if you had that power to say, come on, we're going to change this right now, what do you think we got to fix in our world, our industry?
Yeah, that's a great question, Max. I think one thing that I find quick serve, I think, and hopefully I'm not speaking just because it's our baby here, but we build a better product than our competition, and I wish there was a standard or like there's a standard with high security, right? But from a
Yeah.
transaction window standpoint, I wish there was a standard that was quality, durability, longevity, so we could compare apples to apples because a lot of franchisees and a lot of people out there just get fixated on price
Right.
or installation costs and don't realize the overall cost and the longevity of the product. And I think if they did, they would realize it's worth paying a little bit more, 5, 10% more to get the better product up front and make it last in your store. But there's not something in the economy that there's a standard or certificate that could say this product, whether it be quick serve or our competition,
Right.
meets these requirements, versus a cut down patio door.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, you know what? That's a great point. And that's the thing that kills you when you're doing everything the right way.
Right.
And you're trying to, really, be long term and, somebody else who's cutting corners all over the place and,
Yep.
they get in there because there is no kind of guidebook or benchmark. And,
That's right.
that's a really good point. And I mean, we run into that all throughout our industry, for the
Yeah.
most part,
Right.
and so that makes it tough.
Well, and on the USBP side, there are, right? And there's
Yes.
government standards, there's revs, there's certs, but just from a transaction window, I get it. People, they need a touch point out there and they need a window to open but there's a lot more to it than people think to
For
do it right.
For sure. And it's funny on the USBP side, even though there's the standards, there's so much confusion around a lot of them,
Right.
that's a part of the problem too, is just you could have standards, but if they're not clear,
Exactly.
then you're still swimming in shark infested waters in a way.
Well, and there's a lot of misnomer out there in the field that people say, well, our products are built with, UL, 752 products versus no, our product is rated to UL 752,
Yes.
right? There's a big difference.
Yeah, the English language gets stretched quite a bit in our world with tested to, tested.
Exactly.
I mean, it does. I mean, every word you can parse, but yeah,
That's right.
totally
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, I love it. I love it though. A standard on the quick serve side would make a lot of
Yeah.
sense. And who knows? Maybe someday we can get it over the hump there because it needs to.
Exactly.
A couple more for you. Looking at the pluses, and I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but I just don't want to leave it behind. You've been in it a long time. What's got you personally fired up about the future? Whether it's, the Victor thing or just FHG, SFG, your people. What's got you personally fired up?
Personally, me, when I first started the business in '94, I thought, well, okay, we're going to be a drive-through window company for a while, right? Then I had a small vision that, hey, we need to get more into the security, and it happened. And then when it happened with River, I saw how, you put the right people in place, the right measures in place, and you again pour gasoline to your thoughts and to the opportunities that exist, you just explode, right? And so our goal for a long time is just to continue to gobble up more and more of that spec on a building. What can we offer? And so I've seen it happen. I've seen it work. I've lived through it the past 8 years. And now we've got a new partner that joins us, sees the same vision, and they're bigger, and we're going to get bigger. I can't imagine us doubling what we are now, how fun that's going to be and exciting that's going to be, whether that's new products and fire rated products, acoustical products, steel, there's so many avenues in a building envelope that we could go. I'm excited to see where that goes. Our
Nice.
team's excited.
For sure. When you have a name like Specialty, you're not pigeonholed,
That's
so you,
right. That's
you can do
right.
pretty much anything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and we've proven to ourselves that we can go acquire a couple of companies and we can integrate them and we can build this business. And so it's like it's not a pie in the sky. This is a dedicated effort. We're going to stick to our goals and our pattern and make it happen. So I'm super excited about that.
I love it. I love it. One more for Jason Epps, though. He's president, CEO, Specialty Fenestration Group, specialtyfenestrationgroup.com. All right. So I'm just curious on our economy right now. Every day, every moment seems to change. I'm curious what your take is on the economy, or how you feeling about the overall economy, especially since you're probably hearing from so many different sources, because you're in so many different businesses.
Yeah.
What's your gut on the current U.S. economy now and going forward?
I think from a security standpoint, I mean, it's bullish. I mean, every day there's something that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we don't take advantage of that, but we want to be there to support our customers when they need to fortify their buildings and harden their buildings. So I'm excited. I'm really bullish on what's going to happen with security, whether that be glazing, whether it be framing, doors, you name it. I think that's going to continue worldwide as well. From the Quikserv side of transactions, I see tentativeness in the franchisees. I see maybe more remodeling versus new development right now until things get a little clearer.
Right.
Things seem a little muddy on that side of the business. But overall, from a business, I think we're gonna hit our numbers, but one might outweigh the other this year, and that's the security side of things, But again, there's more and more transaction touch points happening in transaction windows and QSR type windows. So it's not I've been through recessions. I've been through COVID. I know what happens during
Yeah.
down times. Transaction windows still do really well. But I am sensing a little bit of, timidness in the U.S. transaction type market.
Though I think that what I was just thinking when you were talking about the move towards quick dining restaurants are moving towards not having a dining room anymore.
That's right.
And it's more just drive through for everything because they don't want to staff or deal with the dining room. So that probably plays really well into all the technology you could bring them to.
Exactly right. Well, there's a lot of chains right now, and even mom and pop chains that are completely redesigning their footprints to allow for the standard drive-through traffic, to allow for the walk-ups, to allow for the Uber Eats, et cetera.
That's true.
So a lot of touch points. So that's good for our business.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's a lot of great momentum going forward. But I think 26 is starting off just a little slow on the transaction side, but nothing to fear, nothing to worry about though. We've
Love
been
it.
through worse.
Yep, okay, stay positive. I love it. Well,
Right.
I've had Jason Epps with me, President and CEO, Specialty Fenestration Group. Quikserv and USBP are the brands that I think all of us know in the industry. Look them up online, specialtyfenestrationgroup.com. Also at quikserv.com. That's QUIKSERV.com and USBP.com. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it, and keep up the great work there. You're doing great stuff.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here and, just educational for the listeners, and I appreciate that.
No, you brought it. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Glazers and Fabricators, FHC, the frameless hardware company, is here to support your business. In addition to offering a complete selection of glazing tools and supplies to get the job done right, we design, engineer, and manufacture a comprehensive offering of frameless shower door systems, heavy glass doors, aluminum entrances and storefronts, architectural railings, transaction and display hardware, privately owned and American made. FHC prioritizes you, the customer. You now have a choice. Visit fhc-usa.com.
Okay. Next up on the From the Fabricator podcast, I am thrilled to have JJ Derman, Director of Sales and Business Development, NovaTech Wall Systems. And you can find them online at NovaTech WS, so NovaTechWS.com. Hey, JJ, thank you so much for doing the podcast. Can't wait to get to know you a little bit better.
Great. Thanks for having me on, Max.
Yeah, it's cool for me because you're coming from a totally different world that I know, and so it'll be kind of cool to get to know you, get to know your product. But we'll start with you personally. Love to know, your background, basically, where you're born, grew up, kind of, everything on your journey till today.
Sure. Well, I hail from the city of Chicago, a Chicago native. Grew up there my whole life. Cubs fan, Bears fan.
Nice.
And then I decided I didn't want to be in that cold weather for long. I tried to move south for a little bit, went to the University of Alabama. Big golfer, so I played
Okay.
golf there for a little bit, but decided then to move to the University of Denver, where I
Wow.
continued my golf career and ended up graduating out there and stayed there. Loved Denver and the climate that they had out there. Joined a company in the residential world, wood floor manufacturer that made chemicals over in Sweden for water-based finish technology. And they moved me to Atlanta early 2001.
Okay.
And then the residential, took a hit in 2007. And
Mm-hmm.
so it forced me to look for a new gig and moved into commercial at that point. Landed with a company called Alpolic,
Okay.
owned by Mitsubishi
Right.
Chemical, which is a manufacturer of aluminum composite material,
Okay.
and got my, I guess, feet wet and learned all about cladding with them for about 5 years. I managed the Southeast territory, called on architects and designers mostly, and managed a sales team. And then from there, kind of was starting to get sick of travel. I've been traveling every day, every week for 20 years and or 15 years.
Yeah.
Want to get off the road, and then took a job with Seco Contracting or Seco Architectural Systems here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They were one of our best customers at the time and really allowed me to stay at home with the kids a little bit more
Right.
local, but get more involved in the contracting side and the installation side of the cladding world,
Gotcha.
which is where I, stood for since then. So I've been with Seco now for almost 14 years, and they have since started another company called NovaTech back in 2017.
Gotcha. And that's where you're at today. And so before I move on, University of Denver, national champions hockey. I assume you caught that.
Go Pios.
Yeah,
Yep.
big.
Yep.
That was big. And just a dumb question for me, being a golfer, does the ball go further in Denver because of the air, or does the altitude, or does it tamp it down?
It definitely goes further.
So
And
your
it's a lot
drive,
of fun to hit the ball far. Yes.
you're hitting 350 off the tee in Denver
You
out there for sure. Okay.
you can do that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I like it. I like it. Very cool. Well, let's talk NovaTech. NovaTech Systems. There's probably people listening to this podcast, watching this podcast that don't know what it is, don't know what you guys do. Can you give a rundown on what NovaTech Wall Systems is and what you all do?
Sure. Yeah. NovaTech was really born out of a need that we saw here in the Southeast, where our contracting side could not really satisfy the manufacturer partners that we had brought on. And we really try to be, as important and as valuable to our manufacturers. We really treat them like partners. And it's been the strategy of our business. And I think what's made us successful. And being that Seco Contracting really goes after the larger projects out there, there was a lot of smaller projects that were slipping through the cracks. So we thought that we could start a fabrication side where we would just supply material only to other subcontractors to satisfy those smaller jobs that our manufacturers were missing out on.
Okay.
And so we've taken really what we've learned over the last 30 years in the contracting world, because we have our own fabrication company called ProFab. that services our contracting side, we thought we would share that really with the rest of the industry and go out there and see what we could do. So
Hmm.
we started with three people just working out of their homes, calling on subcontractors and trying to put together material only engineered package solutions for cladding. This is rain screen cladding solutions for the exterior envelope of a building. So we're talking ACM, MCM, phenolic panels, fiber cement panels, insulated metal panels, anything from the air vapor barrier out. We
Okay.
can put the insulation, the girts, the furring, everything together to make it really simple for a subcontractor that doesn't have the sophisticated fabrication facility themselves. Um, Put the package together and then project manage it for them from beginning to end. So all they have to worry about is the installation side.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess, anybody who wants to see kind of everything you do, again, you can go to NovaTechWS.com to see it. And I assume this is, the glazing community is jumped on board and and picking up what you're putting out there, right?
Well, we've realized that, and this is through our own contracting side, that a lot of the GCs these days would like to package more and more of the contract under one prime subcontractor.
Right.
And the glazers, some of them, very few of them, will do metal panels as well, and they have an advantage on those types of projects. And then there are other glazers that maybe would want to do that, but they don't have the fabrication. They don't maybe know or understand metal panels as well. So that's really what we're offering to the glazing community is the ability to, like I said, I'm going to use the word partner a lot because we're not a bid house. We're not someone like a manufacturer that anybody could just call up at any time and ask for product. We're really looking for partners that want to, I would say just join us and go after projects together. And, win or lose, I think we have a solution for them that would allow them to compete at a higher level.
Nice, 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 nice. I've got J.R. Derman with me, or J.J. Derman, sorry, J.J. Derman with me, Director of Sales and Business Development, NovaTech Wall Systems. And it's funny because I've been seeing more and more of your style of work, coming off, in the design community. So I think it's, getting more and more popular. I'm curious, when I look at your site and look at, know your past, favorite project of yours of all time and why? Is there something that you did out there that, to this day still is either blows you away, makes you super happy, whatever the case may be? What's your favorite all-time project?
Hmm. That's a tough question. I'd have to say it probably is we call it the CHKD project, but it's the Children's Hospital, King's Daughter,
Okay.
that's in Norfolk, Virginia. And that was really a project that got NovaTech into the mainstream. We partnered with a major glazer here in the Southeast, Juba Aluminum,
Hmm.
and we introduced to them a new product that we call our GIP or our glazed in panel.
Okay.
And that's really the project that launched us into working with glazers
Okay.
primarily.
Great.
And we've really invented or reinvented a product that's been out there for, gosh, 50 years probably, a sandwich glazed in panel that's been made throughout our industry by laminating different pieces together, whether it's plywood, insulation, particle board, brake metal, and they just laminate or glue it together and they glaze it into the spandrel panel, which solves a solution when an architect wants to add color to the building and they don't want to put glass in that spandrel area. But it's not very high tech. And we live in a high tech world. And with the sophisticated fabrication equipment and materials that we use, ACM is a fantastic material. It really gets rid of oil canning, allows for super flat substrates and high grade finishes. Many shapes can be made out of it. We work with the highest ACM paint suppliers in the industry. And so we designed a glazed-in panel for this project that they loved, and it was super complicated. There was probably over 2,000 panels that went on this facade, and when it was done, it's one of those trophy projects. And what they did is they unitized it. So it wasn't just a plug and play type product. They had to unitize these materials in batches and then lift them into place. And they were complicated. Nothing was the same. Almost every panel was a little different
Wow.
from a geometry standpoint.
Wow.
And so when all of that comes together on a project and you see it in real life, you see different angles and slopes and curves and things that really pop out architecturally that you can do with our system that it's not so easily done with others.
Right, right. No, and I love the fact that you took something and something that you said that just you basically reinvented it and brought it into the current times, and now it's rolling along. Kudos to you guys. That's pretty cool. So what is coming down the pike? I mean, is there any new products or technology that you've got your eye on? Anything that because you're evolving with the stuff that's out there. Are you doing anything with anything that we may not know of, or it might be kind of new? Anything out there for that?
Yeah, so a little behind the curtain, if you want.
Sure.
We started with ACM with this glazed-in panel as the solution, but that's evolved a lot, and we've really tried to change the product and make it even better. And we're exploring right now the possibility of using 2 millimeter product produced by Alucobond.
Okay.
And they are willing to put together a testing protocol with us. And what we're trying to do is pass Florida Building Code testing approval and allow this product then to be used in high wind load areas up to like code E,
Okay.
which would allow it for hospitals down in the Florida area or any high wind load velocity HVAC zones.
Hmm.
So we're in the middle of doing testing. In fact, we go into the lab on Monday.
Great.
So we should have results coming to the industry soon. And that will really be great because we'll be able to then say that we have a completely tested system for HVAC and missile impact and raise the bar in the glazed in panel industry to a level that it doesn't exist right now.
Awesome, awesome. Congrats and good luck on the testing. Hope it goes smooth. It sounds like you're doing everything the right way, so that's
Hmm.
exciting. I've got JJ Derman with me, Director of Sales and Business Development at NovaTech Wall Systems. See him online at NovaTech WS. That's NovaTechWS.com. I break up the podcast halfway through each time with a fun question, and I ask this one a bunch because I'm a TV fanatic, but also movie fanatic. Your all-time favorite TV show or movie? Is there one that's that is a go-to for JJ Derman at all times?
Well, being the golfer I am, I gotta say Caddyshack. That's
Fantastic.
the
Yes,
classic for me, and know almost every word and line to that movie for sure. So yeah, that one rings home for me.
that is, and it is great. I don't know if there's been some great like behind the documentary, the making of Caddyshack. I assume you've seen that. That was fantastic. You know,
Yeah, the fact that they all thought it was a dud when they made it is
yeah.
kind of funny.
It's actually also amazing they actually were able to make it with all the stuff that I mean, they were living it up just like the movie was living it up in a way. So
Yeah.
no, good stuff. I love it. Caddyshack's a classic and good taste, and you are a golfer. Now, I have to ask, since you're a golfer and you're in Georgia, have you played Augusta ever? Have you gotten
Oh
the luck to
gosh,
play Augusta?
never played it. That would be a dream come true, and I don't know that some dreams are attainable, but that would be a definite one. But I've walked it a
Yeah.
couple times,
I,
so it's an unbelievable place.
I walked it once a couple years ago, and I could not believe that there's no flat ground at
Hmm.
all on that course. And I mean, you watch it on TV, you don't really see the slopes and everything. That is I mean, first of all, it's a heck of a walk. Let alone,
Oh
I
yeah.
can't imagine playing. I mean, there's not a flat lie anywhere.
Yeah, welcome to Georgia. A lot of people don't realize that Georgia is very mountainous and hilly,
Yeah.
and you don't get that on the TV, but you will get that when you walk there. That's
Awesome.
why those greens move like they do on TV because they're not flat.
Right, all straight downhill. That's why you touch it,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it keeps rolling. I could go on that for that on and on, but very very cool. And one day you're going to get Augusta. We're going to stay confident. You and the president of Coca-Cola are going to hook up on a plane somewhere, and the next thing you know you're playing 18. So
that would
let's
be amazing.
keep the faith. Couple more questions for JJ Derman before I let him go. I know he's a busy man. Got to ask about the tariffs. I'm very curious. Are you affected by them at all for what you do? Because you've got a lot of parts and pieces and people you depend on. Have the tariffs affected NovaTech and you at all, or is it something that you're lucky enough not to have to deal with?
No, I think the tariffs affect everybody these days, and
Yeah,
it started last year, obviously, with the administration imposing different percentages. But the aluminum and the steel that is in most of our products is affected,
gotcha,
especially since most of the high-grade aluminum comes from overseas.
gotcha.
And so we're dealing with tariffs on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and these days we're still seeing a lot of volatility in the market. Manufacturers are trying to hold back, but they're starting to not be able to, you know, take that hit anymore. So
Right.
yes, we are seeing increases mostly in aluminum,
Yeah.
but now we're starting to hear about them in steel as well. And it's just something that, gets passed on for the most part. But when you're bidding projects that are a year or sometimes 2 years
Right.
out, nobody has that crystal ball. Hopefully, we can say that all this will calm down and that prices will start to fall maybe, this time next year. But for now, you have to be a little bit protective and very cautious.
Yeah, good advice. Yeah, and the volatility of aluminum was happening even before, the tariffs, and that just made it worse. It just kind of,
Yeah.
it's amplified it, which makes it a
Mhm.
little tougher. So you made your maiden BEC appearance this year in Louisville, Kentucky, the NGA BEC conference. Curious, how was it there for you? Anything surprise you? What was your reaction from being at your first BEC?
Well, you're right. That was our first and won't be our last because it was a fantastic experience.
Great.
You know, been to a lot of trade shows and they're very often hit or miss depending on the audience, who's attending, what you get out of it. But because the BEC was such a close-knit group and limited, I think, especially with the attendees that were there, they seemed to be the prime people that or the decision makers within the
Yes.
companies because we found it to be very successful to be able to talk to the right people at the booth and explain what we do because we're not just a supplier looking to sell to everyone.
Right.
Like I said at the beginning, we're looking for partners.
Right.
And to be able to talk to that person one on one, face to face, and really explain what NovaTech is and what we're looking to do, we were able to secure, a few really good national customers
Super.
that understand what the advantages are that we can bring to them. And from there, it's just a matter of following up and then starting to do what we say we can do. And yeah, it's starting to roll. And I think it'll be a great place to revisit other people maybe next year. And we definitely would love to be there as well.
Fantastic. It's great to hear. Next year's in San Diego, so it'll be a whole different sort of crew and audience, but it is still the same type of audience, that close knit, higher level people. And so I think you'll find the same thing in San Diego that you found in Louisville. So I'm happy it went well for you. Very cool. A couple more questions for JJ Derman, Director of Sales and Business Development at NovaTech Wall Systems. Everything he's been talking about you can find online at NovaTech WS, NovaTechWS.com. So you work with a good friend of mine and a friend of yours, Angus McMillan, just a classic, an American original. I got to ask because a lot of people listen know Angus. They know, because he is a man's man out there, and so everybody knows him. How did you meet him, and how has it been like working with him? Because he's one of a kind in a
That's
good way,
funny.
in
Yeah.
a very good way. Yeah.
An American original
Yep.
is a good way to put it. Now, Gus, as I knew him growing up, we met in seventh grade. So we went
Wow.
to the same middle school. And high school had this, continue to have a very solid group of high school friends that we text and keep in touch with all the time. So it's just funny that we both went into a similar industry. He went more the glass route. I went
Right.
more the cladding route, and we've reconnected because he's now out doing independent selling and picked up the NovaTech line and
Yep.
doing very well with it. But he's like you said, very connected in the glass and glazing world, and has been a valuable resource for me and us trying to get into your industry.
That's awesome. That's all. You went to school, high school with him, and plus you knew him as Gus. He doesn't tell anybody that's his nickname. So you've got
Right.
that. I've never heard him called that. So that's very
No,
cool.
you wouldn't. And funny thing about him, if you don't know, he's obviously Scottish, so he plays
Yes.
the part very well, and he does play bagpipes. So
Does he?
if
See,
you need a special entertainer at the BEC next year, maybe you hit him up for that.
I had no idea there either. So you think you know a guy and you don't. So and his company Highlander Architectural Products, he's a good man, and obviously, like you said, he's got NovaTech as one of his lines, and he's very proud of that. And he is really truly an American original. I'm a big fan of his, and so I can't believe you guys went to school together. So that what a
Yep.
class you had. Uh, that,
Oh yeah.
that's very cool. Last but not least question. How are you seeing the construction market overall for right now into the rest of 2026? I ask this a lot because it seems like every guest I have has kind of a different angle, a different approach. You're, again, coming from a different angle. How you feeling? Good, bad, worried, optimistic? What's your feel right now for the economy?
Very optimistic. I mean, last year I think was tough because
Mhm.
everyone, the owners, the developers and the architects they were all working hard, and a lot of projects were in design. We were doing a lot of budgeting and a lot of bidding,
Right.
but there was not a lot of awarding going on last year. And it just seemed that after the first of the year, things started to open up, and we're starting to see a lot more work closing. So
Good.
awards are coming out more regularly. A lot of projects are still getting designed, and it just seems like the money is starting to flow better. The confidence out there is growing. Hopefully this war ends sooner rather than later, and that
Yeah.
is another boost to the economy. But things hopefully, like I said, very optimistic about how things are going from this point forward.
Love it. Love it. Very cool. Appreciate that. So I've had JJ Derman with me, Director of Sales and Business Development at NovaTech Wall Systems. NovaTechWS.com is the website. And JJ, thrilled to have you on. Continue to be in our world. And I look forward to seeing you at another event down the line soon.
Well, thank you, Max. I'd be remiss if I didn't put a shameless plug out there for our new website, which will be
Oh,
coming in about a week. So I know you mentioned it quite a bit
okay.
here already, but it will be changing and getting a nice upgrade. So we are still trying to increase the awareness to the glass and glazers, and I think that'll help.
Awesome. Can't wait to see it. And again, what's nice about this podcast, JJ, is that these are like kind of evergreen. I mean, people will watch or listen to a podcast that I did in 21 or 22 because they're interested in the product or the name or whatever the case may be. So it's great. I mean, by the time, a lot of people watch this or listen to it, the new site will be up. So I'm excited. I look forward to checking it out. Awesome.
Right. Yeah, we look forward to meeting everybody, and please give us a call if you're interested in us.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. We'll see you down the line. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you to Jason Epps, and then right after him, JJ Derman. Great guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed the podcast this month. TV wise, I always throw out some things. Basketball really on my mind. Two documentaries. One, Jerry West documentary on Amazon Prime. He's the logo, and he is spectacular in this. The piece is spectacular. The documentary is good. He's a very complex guy. Was a very complex guy. Definitely worth watching. And then the Jailblazers documentary on Netflix about the Portland Trailblazers and some of the adventures they had several years ago. Really, really good watch as well. Check them both out if you're a sports fan. Both really well done documentaries for sure. Huge thank you to my friends at FHC. The Glass Magazine Awards are open right now. FHC is nominated in 4 different categories. Check it out. Give them a vote. You can vote now at glassmagazine.com, and you can see everything FHC has going on at fhc-usa.com. So that'll wrap up things for this time. Lined up a couple really, really good ones here. I mean, I'm just loving the mix of guests and people willing to do this, and we're having a good time. The podcast is growing, and I'm completely grateful to everyone out there for supporting it. So, see us next time, but thank you for listening to this one, and we'll see you again soon.
Oh, the music is stopped.